First of all, I'm trying to calm myself down because the reality of these fucking low life perps, what they deserve is not. First of all, let me just say thank you, God. Thank you, God, that I did not sell my soul and involve myself in things such as disgusting and horrible that even torture children, and clearly testimonials of that. Thank you, God, because the losers and the cowardness of these people is just so nasty. They are painting a story, a fantasy of what this is about that I refuse. And I'm telling you, I'm not even trying to be threatening, but if they try to ever paint this picture in my face, and don't think I'm going to think about the testimonials of these horrible things they do to women and to children, and I'm going to look at this shit and not think about what they do to children and women, and let them go into this escapism. This is why I'm so thankful. Target Vigil, please, all of you, make your testimonial known. They are using these perps, this losery of just childlike trash, and they are so trashy, that come up with fantasy with the reality of what this is about. Target Vigil, these faces of people like this, suffering, men, women, and children. They have cowards that come up looking like this and in different fashion. With me, I made it clear. You that want you to think that this is anything but this massive government that been utilizing human beings, including of children, babies, infants, 3-week-old. You're gonna hear testimonials of that. You're gonna hear a child that's 3-week-old, a baby girl, that is being tortured or was being tortured. But this fucking trash. This piece of shit, thank God I'm not a capable man of killing, but I understand why some ended up going into mass shootings. With me, it's been a failure that is so massive that they're sending their top tier child retards, because you're gonna hear there's a lot of children involved in this program, participating even. And they think that they can create a reality where you as a target individual, you're going to fall into this retardation. This program validately, there is validation of pure torture of infant, of children. Matter of fact, I'm on TI, they're saying this is impacting men, women, and children, because I know that was true. And I know it's still true today. This trash wants to come up with this fantasy. They use very weak, fragile, childlike shit. For me, I'm going to have to ask God to give me the strength, because this childlike perps wanting to live this fantasy think that them being children blocks out the reality of what they're part of. It doesn't. Matter of fact, I know that they're being grown to be torturing even more vulnerable people if they haven't yet. For me, I'm just so thankful. And I put that in their faces. These videos at this point target individual, and not just for me, and not just only to bring awareness to target individual. Perps here wants to live in a deluded reality. I'm embarrassed. I put that in their face. Matter of fact, you're gonna hear why I can be so agitated. Why I can be so agitating that people like that will try to get you to think in this fantasy. I'm not that. I'm not going to be the type who's going to let them live the fantasy. They're going to hear what they're part of. Whatever these people come in, whatever shape, I'm going to put this in their faces. I don't care if you see some grown woman and you hear the testimonials. For me, matter of fact, these younger ones, these opportunists, for them, they need to learn that early. They've been trying to make me think that, no, this is justice for what you done. And they try to talk about me as a child. What I did as a kid, in middle school. It's something I did to myself. Something that looking at it now, it's like I feel it's embarrassing as I was a child. It's inappropriate, will never be what they wish it was. Matter of fact, today I've on social media find this now woman that they would say like you traumatized, you did this and that. She's living her life. At this point she's almost 30 years old, right? And they still, like, when I see her as a woman who's in her 30s, no, not in her 30s, about to be in her 30s, they still give me this sensation stimulation. They're like, we mapped it with this. They even tried to make her a lesbian because they said they were trying to make me think she was so traumatized that she became a lesbian. She's living her life. She doesn't even know about me. I tried to even send a message and there's no response because she doesn't know. It's like some random person writing her. And then I could hear this Perps say, because I'm seeing her story. She goes through her stories. And the reason why I follow her is for the simple purpose, because this trash wanted to delude themselves and try to use her as like, oh, because you traumatized her, it's not justice. I'm gonna hear what they do to children, but before I get there, I put these things in their face, because this is the evil they're part of, the evil they involve themselves in, is what you're gonna hear. They think they can. They've gone into a world where it's not about reality. They call it their reality. I guess I'll be the one, if in case they want to see if their reality and reality is two things are the same, to make sure that they understand that it has to be my purpose, one way or another. Of course, I'm not thinking about anything aggressive, but it's going to be, it has to be mentioned. Childlike people like this. And this is not the most childlike, because, for example, the person interacting with me, another level of child level. I saw this picture of this. I follow her. She's doing her thing, living her life, and they try to, because she's 20. She's in the late 20s, about to be 30 now, and they try to make me feel like a sensation, like, now we mapped it to you when you're a kid, right? It's like, that's what you make me experience. But this trash said something disgusting that almost made me lose it. She wants justice. I'm like, trash, don't even fucking make up. She doesn't even know who I am. But you know who wants justice? This shit that you see here, this trash that you just see here in whatever shape or form, are very much aware of what they do to children. What they deserve for even just participating in this is things that I'm not capable of doing. The cowardness that you see, these people are wearing pajamas, doing these things to people, inclusive of children. These people are so fragile. I will not be surprised if they're on taking antidepressant. But they involved in this.
Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome.
You're gonna hear a 4-year-old with Down syndrome being sexually tortured. This shit interacting with you are involved in a program that does this.
Syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow. I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions.
You hear what they're capable of doing to children, and there's more testimonial. Because this shit involving this one thing to live this fantasy, yeah, justice, no, rat. Trust you make little kids rats. Infants, rats. They use these loseries of human beings. That in my presence, if they did this, I'm sorry, I'm not the strongest man ever. I'm not, but I could not, I don't know, I will have to pray God to give me the strength. Because can you imagine being fully aware of what they do to children? And to see some fragile shit coming up with this fantasy of what this is about. To the point where she calls what they're part of our reality. No. The reality is you involved in a program that tortures children. This is a reality that I don't care what you come up in your brain. I don't care the storylines you come up with. Reality, you need to face that. Especially when you're involved in this and play this game. When you talk about abuse, you know how they abuse children. This woman described her abuse. And this is applied to children. This one.
A lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking. I'd call a targeted individual. But the abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. I don't really know what.
You heard what happened to that 4-year-old with Down syndrome. They grab the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old with Down syndrome were grabbing their private parts because they feel pain there. Similar to this woman. Now I hear this trust go, you failed. I failed to prove the point that they torture children sexually. Do you understand the reality they're in? They send this fucking trash, this coward life, thinking that they can live this fantasy. What they deserve is not on this earth. It's not. I cannot provide what they deserve, but they will get theirs. They will. They will. But in the meantime, I have to be thankful to God that I can see this trash for where they are, when they come and present themselves the way they want to. And now you look at them for the shit that they are. Truly. You just heard this woman, you saw even in her face. Can you imagine this kind of torture applied onto children? Even if it's not to the same intensity. Even a fraction of her torture applied to children. And then try to make it now as she wants justice. You're involved in a program that torture children, you trash us, and then you try to pretend like you fucking delusional shit. That facade is over. That's why you use these retards. The person interacting with me, I know, is not as childish as these people. But even that, if this is one of like the less childish looking people, you can only imagine. People in like this can be involved in what you just heard. For me, I know that it won't take much for them to get whatever it comes to them. It doesn't take much. I've seen them. Imagining something bad happen to people like that, it doesn't take much. But I will not let them escape. Never. Never. I don't even want to embarrass them. Excuse me. This is what they forced me to say. I don't even want to waste my energy showing a picture of some kid in middle school doing some. Now it's just, it gets to the point where listen to how they even torture children. And to hear this shit, to come up with this fantasy, now she wants justice. Of course I know she doesn't even know me. But this trash who wants you to start thinking these ways. Going to the la la land. You heard the face, you've seen the face of this woman. Imagine what she says being applied to children. These testimonials of 3-week-old babies, these mothers and their children being both tortured. And I know this shit talking to me is involving that. Involving a program that does that to kids. And she goes into like via V2K, they have the luxury. This technology gives you the luxury to interact with somebody remotely. And you have this weak loser. It's not justice. We can take this and the rat. This is how they sound. Imagine somebody like that in your face try to do that. And you know they're involved in a program that do these horrible things to kids. I'm not an aggressive person, but even a trash as weak as she sounds, doing these things, speaking to somebody like that knows what they do to children, and if something harmful happened to this trash, would you be shocked? The truth is, I'm not capable of doing that, and I don't want to be capable of doing that. But if I hear somebody involving the program that does these things to children, and then think because in her way, in the reality, they painted implanted in their brain that their gender, and because they can be children in a program where they sexually torture children, traumatize these kids, and use them as guinea pigs. Stop that. Matter of fact, it's even worse because these children are being groomed. They're being groomed. You know how I know? One of the ways I put them on their knees, in another ways, not literally. Me, I'm going to be on my knees because I'm being tortured. They're on their knees because they're degraded by reality. I say the name Roy Moore. The way they say this person's name is a way that I cannot hear because they know better. They have some restrictions. They're being groomed to know how to say this name, who allegedly was picking up kids. I'm like, exactly, trash. What's happening to you is you're being groomed to know what to do in this program that torture children. That you know that you should not say the name of this pedophile or this alleged pedophile unless it's said in a certain fashion. Trash, in every way, this low life is the future of some horrible torment that can even be implemented toward children. But the cowardness that you just saw, it's not even as bad as who this person talking to. For me, when they say these things, I would lose it if they did that in my face. I would lose it. There's just too much. There's just too much of what they've done to people. And well testified. Target individual, please continue to put your testimonial out there. There's perps who are involved in the same program that torture you. If you're a woman, if you're a child, if you're a man, to then try to present this facade as something else. It's just justice. It's not justice. Trash. I'm a guinea pig. Just like this child is a guinea pig to this program. You fucking low life. And I see what you're part of. You delusional shit. Target individuals, stay strong and see this low life for the trash that they are. Don't let them go into that la la land they created. They create a false reality to camouflage the reality of what this is about. Children, infants are being tortured by this trash. This is real. You have these clowns coming up with storylines to counter the reality that this is what's happening to children.
We have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
A 3-week-old, this testimonials of babies 3 years old, it's happening today. And they come up with the stories in my mind. They're trying to like, no, she knows, she doesn't know me. And she's not traumatized, especially not by me. But trash, low life like you're traumatizing and torturing children and then creating your fucking fantasy of a reality that you claim to be your reality is not your reality. It's your coping mechanism, you piece of shit. Because you're an opportunist that's involved in a program that tortures children, but you enjoy what you're part of. So they've created this movie of what this thing is about. Then you see who's talking. It's like, okay, I get it. You fucking trash. Target individuals, stay strong.